Welcome to the, what month is this, Chris? October meeting of the Regional Planning Advisory Committee for MAPA. It's good to see everyone. Y'all know the drill. We usually introduce ourselves. We have some people who are new-ish and haven't attended a ton of meetings quite yet in the room. So we'll have a fun introductory question. I was thinking either, hey, Mark, come on in. Either we'll do MAPA names or we'll do, what you expect the highlight of your weekend to be. So what's your preference?
Let's talk about weekends.
Even better. And just in case, if you want to add that, if you already have a MAPA name, by the way, your MAPA name is your middle name and then the street you grew up on. Mine is Lavelle Ruggles, okay? So we'll skip MAPA names, but you all have one. You just maybe haven't shared it. So I think it goes without saying that the highlight of my, the highlight of my weekend is this Husker homecoming win that we're going to get over Rutgers tomorrow at 3:00. So I'm pretty excited about that. I know you all are too, especially our gracious host, Bruce. He's happy about that today. Bruce, thank you for welcoming us to Fabulous Events that we appreciate the hospitality. And Chris, what are you looking forward to? First, I'm sorry, who are you? I'm Keith. I'm with the City of Omaha, by the way, and I have the honor of serving as chair of this committee. Chris.
Chris Gibbons, planning code compliance manager, city council Bluffs. I serve as vice chair for RPAC. My weekend highlight is going to be Green Bay Packers get back on a winning streak and probably pressure washing my house and getting ready for winter. I'm going to utilize this last 90-degree day taking care of some outside chores.
Kent Holm, Environmental Services Director, Douglas County. I will be in the stadium on Saturday. I wish it wasn't going to be 90-something degrees. I work on the field. I'm one of the guys who takes the video replay monitor out to the referee to do replays. It's an interesting gig. Best seat in the house, but it's going to be damn hot.
You influence the call.
Thank you for your service.
I get to listen to the replay, but they specifically say you will offer no comment.
If I get to drink and hear about that, that's gonna be the next special event we can hear about that. I'd love to hear about that. Thanks, Ken.
Kelly Jack, Sarpy County, of course, go Big Red, and cleaning out my garden for the last time.
Jody Clifton, Front Porch Investments, and I will not be watching the football game. I know this is shocking. I know. But I did find out there's an app where you can rent a pool and it's 90 degrees. So me and a few friends are renting a pool and having a pool party on Saturday.
What is this app called?
Swimify?
Swimify?
Yeah.
Why did I not think of that?
Rent people's pool.
That'd be fun. Have fun doing that.
Big pool.
You can turn the game on.
We can get the whole TV up and watch it from the pool.
Laura Dietrich, Douglas County Planning and Zoning. I am finishing up on a very small little bathroom project. So I'm going to finish up painting and I'm going to call it good.
Good morning, everyone. Vicki Fitzparis, Vice President of Community Development for the Apartment Network, Go Big Red. And I think my highlight is going to be attending the Kiewit Luminarium Orbit exhibit. So I'm looking forward.
When is that, big?
Tomorrow.
Mark Norman, with Greater Omaha Chamber, and I am, we're hosting a birthday party this weekend and I am in charge of the meats. So pressure's on for me to have some good quality pulled pork and brisket and all that kind of things.
I'm Christine Stokes, City of Gretna, also hoping for a Husker victory tomorrow, and then I'm going to Johnstown tomorrow morning with a friend.
There you go.
Chris Meeks, OPPD. I will be cheering on along with Bruce, the number 16 ranked Iowa State Cyclones in their whiteout games. Go Cyclones.
That's a whiteout game, you said.
Whiteout game,
Nice.
yeah.
Very hot, Moab, cleaning out a garden. Have a pool, will not run her down. And we'll be enjoying 2 granddaughters that will be helping with the garden.
That'll be fun. Before you go, Bruce, Marcus.
I'm Marcus JP. I'm here with Omaha Documenters. I think the highlight of this weekend is going to be catching up on some things. I was in Mexico last week, so just getting back and trying to get on top of stuff.
Nice.
Bruce Fountain, Community Development Director for La Vista. Highlight will obviously be attending the Iowa State, watching them go 5-0 for the season this weekend. Catching up with my old college roommate at the game. And then also looking for the Chiefs to go 4-0 or 5-0, I lose track. And also my Royals are back. And it reminds me of the growing up when the Royals Yankees rivalry, so watching them.
Travis Gibbons, planning director for City of Papillion. Looking forward, it's kind of crazy, but my family likes to put up the Christmas decorations first week of October. They're a little nuts, so I do that, and you're lucky your Iowa State Cyclones won't have a poem anymore.
Brian Lotus, I'm with the City of Omaha Public Works Department. I guess probably Saturday, my son has a soccer game at 3, so I'll watch him sweat it out, and I'll go home and hit the air conditioning and cool off, watch the rest of the games.
Mike McIntosh with Lamprey Anderson, and I chair the infrastructure committee. And I have a daughter who's a freshman now in high school, my first high school, and they have their freshman homecoming this weekend. So I'm an official photographer, I think, and looking forward to that. There's already been drama. All the drama, hopefully.
Hi, everyone. Ashley Ray Turner, Director of Community Affairs at the Omaha Land Bank, also chair the Equity and Engagement Committee. So yes, it's Husker Homecoming. I'm on the advisory board for the Alumni of Color Network. So we have a multicultural tailgate for the game at the Post, the Black-owned bar down there. So I'll get up early, drive down there, do that, and maybe stay for the game.
I'll be there.
Hi, I'm Megan Ingberg. I am the Community Development Administrator for the City of Ralston. And the highlight of my weekend is actually probably tonight. My 7th grader is going to be playing with the Papillion South Titan Marching Band out on the field. So I'll get to watch him do that. Pretty excited.
Congratulations. Good luck.
My name is Caleb Broderson. I'm a city planner with the City of La Vista. Just here to back up first today on our presentation and sit in on the meeting. And this weekend, I'm looking forward to spending some time with my father for his birthday.
Thanks for having me.
Saul Lopez, Communications Project Coordinator with MAPA, and I just have class on Saturday tomorrow, so I might have an essay to work on tonight.
That's the highlight of the meeting. Let's talk after.
I have 4 or 5 days to work on this, and I'm gonna be working tonight.
Sue Cutsforth, Public Information Officer with MAPA, and I'm gonna be writing Biketober in the Bluffs tomorrow.
Where does that culminate at?
Starts at the Railway Inn off the First Ave Trail.
I'm Laura Heilman, Communications and Outreach Manager at MAPA, and I feel really dorky saying this, but I'm gonna do some personal strategic planning this weekend.
No day off.
Who's on there?
We've got Jeff, Grant, and Stephanie.
Let's go in that order. Jeff, come on.
Good morning, Jeff Spees with Lamprey Anderson, the chair of the Housing and Development Committee. And next week is the Quad States APA conference in Arkansas. And so Sunday I'm going to be driving down and taking my bike and riding in Bentonville, Arkansas, which is sort of the mountain bike capital of the United States. I'm looking forward to that.
You say
Bentonville, the home of Walmart.
Grant Anderson here. I'm the Community and Economic Development Manager at MAPA. And this weekend, I have some cousins in town from Texas that I haven't seen in about a year. So it'll be nice to catch up with them.
Good morning, everyone. Stephanie Mueller. I'm with MUD. And tomorrow I'll be going to Junk Stock and then watching the game. But I did want to say the person putting up their decorations for Christmas kind of bummed me out a little because I don't want to talk about Christmas yet. But okay, good job.
Thanks, Stephanie. Lindsay. And then Tammy.
Next step, we'll go there.
Sure. Lindsay Button, Transportation Planner with MAPA. My highlight was going to be the Kansas City Ren Fair tomorrow, but given the heat, we decided that's not in our best interest. So instead, we're going to be pulling up in the basement for a Bollywood movie night. So that should be fun.
Tammy.
Hi, everyone. Tammy Palm, Planning Director for City of Bellevue. Other than football, I'll be sweating it out at the pumpkin patch.
Have fun. Mike.
Hey, everybody, Mike Elgerson, MAPA. Flying out for Dayton this weekend for a conference, but we'll be probably doing something like the apple orchard or the pumpkin patch as well on Saturday. So be sweating along with all of you in a tank top.
Awesome. The award-winning Mike Helgerson. All right. Carlos.
Carlos Morales with MAPA. I'm just doing some work around the house. I haven't been home for a little bit, so it's time.
Do we miss anyone else that came in?
I don't think so.
Okay. Okay, well, let's get started. I'm gonna duck down in a sec. I've got to run, but I wanted to make sure I had a chance to add a quorum. Do we have quorum?
17, guys, thank you so much.
I think the homework, the month before last was to walk out of here, look at a name that wasn't present and call them and invite them. And that's the homework again today. So let's approve the minutes from the most recent meeting and then the meeting before.
It's 3, actually, April, June, and August, so I'm very excited to get this, so thank you.
Thank you. And I reviewed them. I know you all have too. Are there any questions about the minutes? And if I'm seeing none or any recommended updates, seeing none, is there a motion to approve? Do we need to do them one by one?
No.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve the minutes from April, June, and August? Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion second. All in favor? Any opposition? Seeing none, thanks for approved. Thank y'all. Thank you. Y'all give Chris a hard time. I'll see you later.
I think you need to stay and learn about La Vista.
Might catch me at one of the events. Thanks. Ian.
Share the right thing.
Thanks. Welcome, everybody. Really appreciate everybody making the trek out. Appreciate everybody being here and appreciate Laura giving us a chance to kind of brag on our city a little bit. Things have been going on. I should have had my La Vista shirt on too, but I have my priorities straight. Just gonna go through primarily what's been going on 84th Street, redevelopment. Talked with Bill and Kale earlier. I kind of organized it as what we were, what we are, where we are, and where we're going. Development along there. Golden Mile, what we started out with. Strip centers, and we moved into Vision 84 and trying to figure out how to redevelop it. Public-private partnerships to get it going, and then we'll talk about the next steps and projects that are coming up. Again, those of you who may not know, we're a very linear east-west community. Boundaries are basically Harrison on the north, Giles on the south, and what was called the Golden Mile was that strip of 84th Street, kind of right through the middle. It's back in the day, and this city was founded in 1960. Things grew up there with strip centers, Walmarts, Bakers, Boardman's, Hobby Lobby. There was quite a few big box things there. And as they continue to grow and move like they typically do, they move to our neighbors to the south and north. And Summer Kitchen stayed in the city, but moved out west. And the decline of 84th Street really began when Walmart closed around 2006, and then Baker's across the street closed in 2008. So, and a lot of city prides itself on doing a lot of community involvement and community input, a lot of surveys on a regular basis, continually came back saying we need to do something about the 84th Street and the blight that's kind of taken over since those things sat vacant for years.
here's kind of what it was. See the sea of parking and some big box retail, few pad sites. So Walmart, I think, took us forever to even find the actual owner of that building. I'm sure they knew they still owned it. His first name Cronky, who also owns the Colorado Avalanche and the basketball team, some others. I'm sure he knew this was on his asset sheet. Finally, that was like kind of an ongoing thing, trying to figure out, and I think the city was actually getting close to looking at buying it ourselves. And luckily, we came across the developer interested in the project. And a few more, couple slides of what it looked like, and that Walmart sat vacant like that for a long time. There were several proposals for various things to go in there along the way. The city kind of had a course saying, we want to redevelop this, we don't just want to repurpose it. One of the best one I've heard of was a wedding shop where they wanted to put a giant wedding cake on top of the building. So that led to the, what we call the Vision 84 plan back in around 2009. City went out RFPs and hired, actually, I got to work on that when I was working for Shemmer, and we partnered with AECom to begin kind of the visioning of the whole area and redevelopment on both sides between Harrison and Giles. We'll go through all of these, but he had about 9 principles that came out of that plan and continue to be guiding a lot of what we're trying to do up there. This is some concepts out of that plan itself, so you can see it pushing for higher density mixed use development from the very start. Out of that plan, one of the biggest visionary things I think that came out of it was converting the old R3 golf course into a large regional park. Took a little bit of time and convincing of the people who actually played there that to convert it, but the city council felt it was definitely a catalyst for this area to move forward. And now that plan, of course, in order to start implementing things, we had to several additional plans. 2011 was a blight substandard determination study so that we could utilize TIF in the area. And then along with that came the redevelopment plan, and then again, a big part of the redevelopment of the golf course was our La Vista Civic Center Park plan. And again, as all this was going on, this was before Kale and I were both here, but staff would go out to the International Shopping Center Conference in Las Vegas every year, trying to recruit developers and interest in the whole area. Did that for several years, and then came down to Brenda, our city manager, met Chris Erickson at a local event here and got to talking, and he actually really bought into the vision that was going on up here and started working with us. This was the concept, one of the early concepts is pretty accurate to what's going on up there right now. Main Street down the middle. Again, La Vista never had a downtown, so we're actually trying to create a city center downtown area. That's been working out really well for us in hosting events. We had an Oktoberfest there last Saturday that was really well. And then it, as the concerts continue to grow, more people are spilling out into the area and see more bars and restaurants along there. This is an early rendering, which again is fairly accurate. This is looking north towards the concert venue. Concert venue has changed a little bit, but the apartment complex, there's still plans for an office building on the corner up there, an additional parking garage when that happens, but we'll see what when and if that happens. COVID threw a wrench into a lot of plans and thoughts about it, including office development. And this is another rendering looking south from the Astro, the apartments and the office retail buildings. This is some photos of the actual Astro. Those of you, especially from Omaha, Chris Erickson likes to reach back into history and utilize landmarks for his projects. I think he pulled the Astro name out of the old Astro Theater, which is now the Rose Theater in Omaha. Theater back in the days. This was one of the first concerts last year, I believe. Aerial from our drone. You see the wall over there on the right, kind of looks like Roman numeral 9s. Get into that in a second. That was a design team came up with that idea, and so I felt it was kind of really gave tie back to our history, which was La Vista was originally known as the House of Nines when the first subdivision was platted up in the northeast corner of what now the city. Homes were sold for $9,999 with a down payment. Became known as the House of Nines. I think was it $99 a month? You too can live on Easy Street, which one of the main streets was Easy Street. So it was kind of interesting how they came up with the idea to kind of artistically bring that into this development. Another good aerial shot. A little bit on the public-private partnership. Obviously, the city had to be heavily involved in this to get it going. We did a lot of the demolition of the old structures. We did the new infrastructure, streets and sidewalks and so forth. And this is what we call the link. The city owns this and built it. This is the restroom concession facilities. The restrooms up on top serve the concerts and are open to the public during the day. And when there's not something going on, but there's also restaurants or restrooms down below. So it serves the park. And then along with that, the city also developed all of the open space area around there as part of kind of the park. So really the developer owns the Astro building itself and the outer lawn amphitheater area. So a lot of people think that the city built and owned that, but no, that's all privately owned. So we don't have to worry about it from subsidizing it anymore from taxpayer dollars or anything. It's all on them, but we obviously have a big tie into it with what we've invested up there. And along with that, we also built the second parking garage, as you'll see up on 84th Street. It's part of the amphitheater development. Next steps, a lot of things going on in the works right now to start working on the 84th Street actual streetscape. This kind of gives you a view of plans long-term to do extensive landscaping and this gives you a really good view of what we anticipate landscaping. We're working right now through some federal earmark money. We received funding to help with the underpass between Central Park to go to the west side to what we'll redevelop into Central Park West and do a 10-foot wide trail on both sides of the street. It'll tie into that underpass as well and make it more pedestrian friendly rather than massive traffic that's out there right now. Again, a little bit, as I mentioned, trying to make it more pedestrian friendly along with benches and wayfinding and a lot of landscaping. Another part within the city center itself is the city will be working on these green squares that are located through the project to develop those into public park space. This is one we call Bar Mittler Square. See the concepts that have been developed. Plans for a hotel in this site. This is just to the south of the existing structure. There's apartment buildings up in here. So we're kind of working on how we can tie it in with a hotel, probably looking at maybe providing a fire pit or some amenity that the guests can use as part of that as well. This is the further south square. Again, just more landscaping and artwork is our vision for that. And then the underpass that I mentioned, this is a proposed new bridge. This side is the current Central Park. This will, which we call Central Park West. This gives you a better view of the tie-in will be right under here. And right now it's very underutilized space, a couple of small little league fields and our old swimming pool, which is being demolished right now as we speak. In preparation to start building on the bridge, and then we'll show you some concepts here in a minute to replace the swimming pool. This is a concept for Central Park West. Then, as I mentioned, our pool used to be up in here. We're looking at moving it back into the back, having some civic lawn space parking. Hope to look at maybe farmers markets, whether we do a La Vista Days. Everybody really wants to bring the carnival activities back, so this will give us a nice flat space for that type of thing. Potentially some sort of pavilion, a new neighborhood park, and then working on naturalizing the Thompson Creek on the north side there that will flow under 84th Street, and do some educational walking paths along through that as well. That's about it for where we are right now on that project.
I'll talk about another planning effort that we're currently doing. So with all the investment on 84th Street, trying to create this walkable environment, we understood that it cannot just be an island, in this suburban land use pattern that we have out here. So the 10-foot trails on both sides of 84th Street, trying to connect our park system that's around it. We wanted to make sure we weren't missing opportunities elsewhere in the city. So we have, in addition to 84th Street, we've got a lot going on in the south, what we call the Southport area. It's out where the Costco and Cabela's and the Alamo Theater and the new sports complex that's out there. So right now, we don't have a safe way to get out there if you are not using a vehicle. So that's a big priority for an impetus for this plan, is we need to find a way to connect all this and take advantage of the regional trail system that we have surrounding the city. So we kicked off this plan here at the beginning of the year with help from a Heartland 2050 mini grant from MAPA, and assistance with the Port and Lindsay with MAPA have been very helpful in dealing with all the contracting part of this plan, the stuff that's not fun, so we can actually just focus on the work. So we're very grateful for MAPA for making this happen for us. But started the plan at the beginning of the year, invited a bunch of community stakeholders, like we had 80 different organizations, whether it's surrounding jurisdictions, advocacy groups, citizen groups, HOAs, those types of organizations, to identify all the gaps that we currently have in our network. So both sidewalks, where do we need trails, where do we need on-street facilities, what kinds of policies do we need to put in place to make sure that we're actually creating other opportunities for getting around without a vehicle. So we also had a survey that went out to residents. We put yard signs with QR codes for the survey in every park in the city to try and capture input from a lot of existing users in the city. And unsurprisingly, a lot of the priority for this type of infrastructure and investments right now is for recreational use. People want to be able to access their schools or all the breweries that we have around here. We've got an area people are calling the fermentation district. Between us and Papillion, you've got Pint Nine, Cross Drain, Nebraska Brewing, Infusion, Lucky Bucket. We've got a lot of these resources and are situated in close proximity. So trying to make connections between the regional trail system and all of those is kind of another way that we're trying to sell and bring forth some of this infrastructure as a means of economic development. So other things that we heard, big priorities are we need better crossings, better sidewalks, and then more dedicated trails. So this is going to be hard to see here, but and actually I might open up a PDF.
Oh, yeah, go for it. It's pulled up, so.
So we are still working through this plan right now, but we do have some preliminary segments here that we're looking at. So we have like 80 different proposals that we're looking at. We've broken them out into different phases. So we've got our kind of short-term priorities.
Can we share this tab real quick,
Yeah.
just so people and Ryan can see? Wait, that one?
Yes.
Okay.
Perfect. So on here, this is 84th Street. So we're already seeing some of the things that are underway, the 10-foot trail on either side, the trail through what is Central Park now, the old golf course, and the underpass under 84th Street. We've got the Keystone Trail that's existing over here on the east, and then the West Papio Trail here on the west. So some of those big priorities are making an east-west connection, because right now, people who are using those trails just go right through the city. They're not stopping. We want them to take advantage of City Center and Southport and everything in between, and provide more opportunities for people to use this type of infrastructure as opposed to the vehicle, if they want to do so for purposes beyond just recreation. So we're looking at some on-street facilities. We identified some low-volume, low-speed streets where we could have bike lanes to connect the trail segments. We're also looking at some improvements out by the Southport area. Ideally, we would have along Giles Road a sidewalk or a trail. There are 3 or 4 different bridges there that are not sized appropriately to handle a dedicated trail. So our current plan in the near term is to construct a bridge over the West Papio. So you can, once you get over to 108th Street here, you can take the trail to get over into the Southport, where we've got the sports complex and everything out there as a means to provide that safe access. So these are some of our first priorities that we're actively working on. And then we'll continue the network as funding is available with on-street facilities and dedicated trail systems, and then our kind of longer term phase. So this is the kind of the full plan for build out. Lots of things here trying to connect the different lakes that are existing with our neighbors to the south, trying to, yeah, there's just a lot that we have in mind that we're very excited about. So our plan here is to try and get this adopted by the end of the calendar year, so we can start applying for more money for grants. So, any questions?
Any questions for Kel?
I'm just thinking about a little bit about, 2009 was the visioning. That's like for city center and kind of some of this. So, I feel like I was part of some of those early conversations, but that 15-year time span is kind of a lot. Like, how are people sustaining that excitement? And is it helpful to see maybe some of the other developments that are happening around the region and getting people excited for this?
It's definitely a tough part of it. I think what's helped us be successful with it is that we've had a city council that's been in place that whole time, and a mayor that's been in place that whole time. And most of our staff have been involved through it all to keep things moving and keep that vision. And again, we've done a lot of public involvement along the way. Along the way, we always hear the complaints that nothing's happening, and right now, when council's still not overly committed, the whole area isn't filled up with retail and restaurants and so forth. We got a little thing called COVID in the middle of it, and then interest rates going up and supply chains, and kind of hit some road bumps there, but we're back on track now. We have to have that bridge and underpass and the trails under by August of next year. So see that construction starting by next fall. And then again, in our CIP, we plug in projects every year to try to keep it going. We've done I just realizing I didn't talk a whole lot about what we've done in the park itself, Central Park. We've done a lot of improvements in there with new shelters and playground equipment and restroom facilities. We're continuing to do that. We bought we have a sinking fund that we're buying Christmas decorations with to.
Travis can put those on.
Yeah. So we're starting to gradually build that from we have what we call Santa's Workshop, which is the old clubhouse for the golf course. And the community loves that. Santa comes in on weekends, and in the past we've been able to have actual live reindeer out there, and we have a parade to start it all off, where Santa goes all through the neighborhoods and this parade, and then ends up there, and they light the Christmas tree. So we're going to be expanding those decorations across over to the link area that I showed you, and then we'll go into Central Park as time goes on. So hope to turn it into kind of a winter wonderland that people can come walk the trails and enjoy it.
We've already used that one.
Trademark that.
Yeah.
I just had a question for him, so I can't get something.
Yeah, Bruce, you mentioned the concert venue and the theater, and that's all private. But the restroom facility and concession building is public.
Right.
So what kind of arrangement do you have with private folks to, when they've got something going that they obviously want concessions and restrooms? How does?
Well, they
that-
kind of have first right. They lease it from us for
for
the concessions and the restroom facilities during their events.
So you don't have to staff it?
No.
Oh,
no. It's one of the
great
difficult things they've had is they've had a couple of caterers and they're having a hard time finding one to stay with it. So a few of the late, more recent concerts, they've had food trucks out there. Yeah, but we are definitely pushing that because we put a lot of money into that. As the very nice commercial kitchen in it, and
There's
and
keg
appliances.
taps and lines and there's, yeah, I mean, it's a full
And we,
space.
in our agreements too, we have use of the amphitheater. I think it's 10 times a year that we can use it, basically at cost. And we did the Vista Days. We kicked it off with a couple of cover bands concerts on Friday night there that went really well. We're going to be doing that again this year. And they are actually leasing out the Astro Theater to a lot of businesses recently. They're having Oriental Trading had a big event there for their employees, so training retreat. They're getting more and more of that. Finding ways to utilize it when there aren't concerts. I think we had a total of 19 outdoor concerts this year.
Probably another 25 indoor.
Yeah.
So it's
They moved some of
definitely-
those outdoors indoor because of weather and things, so.
Is that all new business to the city then? Or like, was that happening at a different location before, or is that all new?
The concerts?
Mhm.
The reason they saw this is because there wasn't a venue of this size. It's kind of the size that was missing in the metro area, is what they were telling us, so they were missing out on a lot of concerts because of that. We're a little smaller than Steelhouse. It was the indoor seats like 2,500, outdoor can go with 5,000 standing. So it's kind of, all their research and everything, it was filling the niche. I think the other thing we're very lucky to have is the partnership on it is 1% Productions and Mammoth Productions out of Kansas City. And I'm a developer. Between those two, they're involved in booking things all over the Midwest. Been pretty successful in getting things lined up.
Bruce, my question for you was, so does the city own all the remaining vacant ground out there? And if so, are you serving as the master developer, or are you contracted with City Ventures to serve as the master developer for the rest of it?
No, we own very little of it around, other than, like I said, the public space around the venue. We own that the surface parking lot. Putting a surface parking lot temporary in right now over there. Eventually that'll be where the third parking garage goes if things come to fruition on a large office building, but I think that may be the only one that we own at this time. The developer owns the rest of the ground. He actually owns all the way south to Giles. There's some older strip centers still left there that he's still leasing, utilizing. But, still trying to fill up some of the vacant space. They're moving their offices into the second story of the building with the dome, which will fill up that whole second story. And they hope to bring a sports bar or something into the lower level. There's a bookstore, a local bookstore getting ready to open up there. There's been a Heights Draft Room, which is a really popular little bar. And then City Pub Restaurants in there. It's open last fall as well.
Important piece, we have an occupation tax over it, so every ticket that is sold, the city gets 3% of that back. So we have that's how we're paying for the infrastructure there.
Are you guys using that like your camp fees or anything else out there?
Pardon?
Your camp fees, like in the maintenance fees out there, is that going towards that or what?
It's a lot of that's is going to the garage, I believe. The majority of the GBOT funds. They'll pay that off, and we charge a nominal amount for the garage. I think it's $5 during the concert events. And then there is an area of vacant ground that he utilizes for larger ones if there's spillover or need for additional parking, but eventually we're kind of where the hotel project will go, which sounds like he's getting close to having that get going here soon.
I think it's a great project. I've been out there quite a few times. And I see the vision. Glad you guys have actually making it come to fruition. Kale, one question for you on the active transportation mobility plan. Are those trail extensions going to go through existing right of way, or are you going to have to do acquisitions, especially through some of those neighborhoods that you were showing? What's the thought there?
Yeah, for a lot of the east-west stuff is going to be on-street facilities where, yeah, we will be able to manage with existing right-of-way. Some of the more complicated trail segments will require some right-of-way acquisition. And so as part of this plan, Benish and Big Money, I should have mentioned that, they're actually doing the planning work on this with us. And we identified 10 specific, more complicated priority segments that they're doing a much more in-depth technical analysis and getting cost estimates and going through all the other stuff. So we're pretty much grant ready. And so the very complicated ones that require the extra right of way and stuff, we'll have a much better handle on here soon.
Great. I think they're both great projects.
I have one question about the naturalization of the creek. If you want to talk about that, just kind of why and what's that look like and.
Well, I think a lot of it came along with wanting to tie these parks together. Providing that underpassing, and it came out of the vision plan back in 2009 to work on that. And there's not a lot of water that flows through that creek right now, so we're kind of like, how are we gonna make this what we want it to be?
So no whitewater rafting?
Yeah.
It is
gonna be tricky. We have signage, and educational things that say why this is important to filter runoff and so forth that goes down into the ponds on down.
I mean, down the creek, it was eroding to the point where we had to do a buyout and buy out the houses to totally redo and stabilize the creek there. And when we redid the park from the golf course, redid the ponds, so it is a very effective flood control infrastructure. It feeds into one pond, which filters out the trash and helps clean the water, and then it goes into the larger lake. And then once that gets overflowed, it goes into another pond, and then it slowly feeds back into Thompson Creek. So it's a very complex system down there. We're trying to get some signage to help explain it to people to understand what we're doing for the city and all the neighborhoods around it. But I think as part of the different permits that were required, we need to maintain a natural edge around the lake and around the creeks, which is a benefit. And it's just part of the conversation. People want to use the lake for fishing and for different things, and which is great. It would be great to have that amenity, but we're required to keep this natural edge that kind of prohibits us from having hard surfaces where you can approach the lake for fishing purposes. But part of the reason why we had the little boardwalk as part of the link project, so people could get out over the water and experience it in a different way.
So I did have a question for you. Now that the event space has been open primarily for about a year, is there anything different that you would have done, or are there things that you didn't think of in the plan that now you want to do? And then secondly, is there anyone designated to try to activate that space?
Yes, we actually.
On an annual basis?
Yeah, actually, it's been 2 years since we hired by, maybe three. We hired a events coordinator that manages and works on all of our city events, but they work very closely with the management of the development up there as well to activate it and their staff. He has a part-time person. I think we're going to make her full-time because it's getting to be more and more. We were just talking earlier today about how our events have grown from about 4 to about 30 now throughout the city. And they're mostly run and manned by city employees. So people getting a little burned out and trying to figure out how we're going to continue doing that. Yeah, it's definitely doing that. As far as things we do differently, and we should probably sit down and actually start talking about that more. There's always things that come up and talk about that. I can't think of anything. And most part has gone very well, especially for nobody really having any experience in doing this kind of thing before. There was little things that maybe there was some miscommunication between us developer. Could have had some better. Part of that was because they had people they had on the ground every day at meetings weren't necessarily getting messages up to the people. Go to open, they found out. For instance, I don't know, one guy didn't realize they were gonna have to rent that concession space for us. We got there.
Oh, yeah, that's big old today.
Yeah. And they signed the contracts, but they didn't read.
Yes. Read the contract next time.
But I can't think of anything really that we've said that do a lot differently.
Hey, Bruce?
Yeah.
Would you think about that? You had that sort of streetscape view that had kind of like an iconic, maybe like specialty sort of construction over 84th Street and the underpass.
Yeah.
Is it true, was 84th Street given back to local control to La Vista? And maybe could you talk about the coordination with NDOT and Ralston and Papillion of the 84th Street corridor?
Yeah, it was turned back over to the city, but it was before I was here, so I don't know a whole lot of details on it. Public Works Department worked closely with them. Some of it was timing. I know we wanted to look, Ralston wanted to get their bridges built before the state relinquished it, so they would pay for them. We wanted some things done at the same time for the state to take care of it. Yeah, we still have certain things that we have to follow. Way back when it was designated was federal type things. That was an important part of it because to do all the landscaping and the things that we want to do, basically the state probably was not going to let us do those things. We battle with our own engineers at times. They hate trees and medians. Currently not.
Traffic calming.
Bruce, what is the timeline for the 84th Street overpass? I mean, is it a go, I guess?
Yeah, we're finalizing design. Like I said, I think we got a federal earmark of 5 million a couple years ago, which actually slowed it down. Of course, we got to back up and do MAPA studies and everything else with it. But I believe that contract with that money says we have to have it out to bid by August 25. It's about 2 years.
Yeah, we're going through right-of-way acquisition right now. And then, yeah, we'll start in 26 and 27. It'll be done.
You plan on shutting down 84th?
It'll be one direction at times.
Yeah, it'll be some growing pains.
Forgot to put in the slide to show this time schedule. I thought I did.
But pretty much the trails and the underpass will all go in at the same time. And then we'll do the pool, because it's right, they're kind of all on top of each other, so we'll do the pool the year after.
And that was a difficult part. We're gonna be without a pool for at least 2 to 3 years. Some council members are concerned with that, but of course, our old pool was getting as old as the city, and our attendance was not, what was it? It was like something like 70% or 75% was from outside the city, even coming in using it. So there was a little bit consternation on how long it was going to take to do that. It took a while to decide where they wanted to put the pool ultimately. One time they talked about putting it down in Central Park, the Central Park area. And again, we had to convince them of the timing. We really don't want that going on at the same time we're trying to build this underpass. And it had to get out of the way to build the underpass. We were holding it together with Band-Aids the last couple seasons.
So is that pool about a year-long process? I'm just asking how long to avoid that section. 84th Street.
It'll be 2 years.
2 years probably.
Okay. Long time for one-way traffic.
I don't know how long we haven't actually gotten into looking at what that.
Yeah, that part shouldn't be as long.
Be different aspects. I'm sure they'll try to keep that to the very minimum we can.
All right, any more questions for Bruce? Cal? Great projects. Thank you for that.
Come out and enjoy it.
And La Vista is still taking comments on their bike ped plan, right? The
Yes.
Comment sheet is still available, so share and share a lot. One quick like MAPA plug is, right now we're working on our long-range transportation plan, looking out what our community, our region's gonna look like 25 years into the future. With this project, this is just 15 years and much has changed. So let's open our eyes, our visions, join us on our LRTP adventures, and let us help you. Obviously, the bike ped plan, some other funding opportunities that came about. Let us help you fund these projects. We love them, we want to see them, and we want more of them. So let's go.
Yeah, definitely encourage anybody with the communities that, I think we started out with some conversations with the MAPA staff about connecting our trails, and they suggested putting in for the mini grant, and great what's come out of it. And it's actually opened our council's eyes, I think, a lot on what can be done. We hope to get some bike share stations out here very soon out of that. That's been a push out of it as well.
It's exciting. My kiddo rides bikes and he was working at Funplex last summer and complained a lot about, having to get down and around there. So he uses those, but yeah, it'd be nice to have some kind of a little more spotted around the region.
There's a lot of challenges with it, as Cale mentioned, is to make the connections and expenses. So we'll definitely be looking at every grant we can find related as we go forward.
One last question. So I know in Iowa, we have certain timeframes that we have to cap our TIF districts. How does Nebraska do that? Are you guys like on a 20-year cap, 30-year cap? Like how long?
Or that one's 20 or 25.
Yeah, they just brought it up. I think it used to be 15, now it's 20 for severely blinded.
We just did that.
Yeah, and I just can't remember if we're on 15 or 20. It's probably more likely 15 over there.
Yeah, I don't know if the severely blighted was in place at the time.
It wasn't.
So it's probably 15. Yeah.
And we hope the Vision 84 calls for us moving to the west as well. And again, we've got another 70 strip center over there. They've managed to maintain some decent tenants along the way. I mean, it's just a huge sea of parking. And we updated our land use plan about 2 years ago already. Through that, we did some concepts where that would, looking at doing some more dense housing, hopefully some missing middle type housing and mixed use along that as well.
A good location for it. Let's move on to the next item, additional business. So these are our Heartland 2050 committee updates. Ashley, you're first up with equity and engagement.
Good, everyone. Some updates. So our next meeting, we are doing joint meetings with housing and development this year. Our next meeting will be next week, actually, on Tuesday. I unfortunately will be out of town for the Reclaiming Vacant Property Conference, so I'll miss it, but it will be very exciting. We have 2 guest speakers. One, Clarice Dombeck, who is now the Omaha organizer for the National Redress Movement. And so she will be talking a little bit more about the work that she is doing. Basically, the redress movement works to talk through what it looks like to redress and potentially look at reparations for redlining and other equity-based issues that happen in communities. And so right now she is doing a lot of community outreach to kind of see what their campaigns will be. Basically, they focus on 2 to 3 issues in a community to try to create change. And so right now she's doing a lot around affordable housing, kind of access to housing, and then also just like the conditions of affordable rental housing, like some of the issues with OHA and things of that nature. And so she'll come and she'll present just on her work and kind of how people can get involved. And then we also will have Michael Chaffee, sorry if I'm saying
Marcus,
actually. Okay, I thought so, I didn't know, and so I was like, so if you'd like to give a sneak peek about what you're talking about, that's fine too, but a really cool project, mapping different landmarks in Omaha for LGBTQI plus history. And so just keeping abreast of just things that are happening in the community with an equity lens, talking about housing and development. We're still open to doing working groups, but it seems like our folks get a little bit more excited when we're talking about current developments and what's going on. So excited to have both of those guest speakers and to see what comes out of that.
Do you want to talk about what you're doing, Marcus?
That would be good.
Sure. So I got a grant from the Omaha Community Foundation to do some research into sites across Omaha that have ties to the LGBTQIA+ community. So I started off with looking at the Queer Omaha Archives at UNO, just going through some of their materials and magazines and articles and stuff that have been collected since the 70s, and just looking for addresses really. And then from that, I was able to build a spreadsheet that I could use like story maps to kind of put all the points onto a map. So right now the map is live. We're in like what you would call a surveying phase in historic preservation, where it's just about getting all these different sites. Working with community members, we can determine which ones are technically like significant to our community. So really the plan right now is just identify sites, get more people involved, hoping to make it to more of like a participatory mapping process where we have like community events to do like research together, but then also like small conversations to collect oral histories from folks. And then it'd be great to partner with other nonprofits that serve different, communities within our community, to be able to diversify some of the sites that I found this summer. So we have a huge event coming up on October 13th. So it's called Out in the Park. This will be in Elmwood Park. Somebody might leave some flyers here, but we're gonna have performances in the park, lots of community partners, tabling, and then I'll be on the inside with the pavilion with Queer Omaha Archive, some like displays about sites that I found and a copy of the map. And yeah, Queer Omaha Archives will have a curated selection of some of the materials that they've collected and preserved for people to see. But we'll have a free dessert donated by some local folks. And we're encouraging folks to bring like a picnic, just hang out, get to know other people, and celebrate Queer History Month, which is October.
Thank you.
I have a quick question for you. So.
Marcus.
Sorry. I was pulling up emails to be like, I know there's another guest speaker.
So through that mapping exercise, are you gonna plan to work with like the city of Omaha to see if any of those can be designated historic so they can like be preserved in like perpetuity? Like what's the thought behind that? Or is it really just a dot on a map and this becomes part of like a future tour, just an event? Like, could those areas like be preserved in perpetuity? Like, what are you thinking there?
Yes to all of that. I would say that my personal vision is more incremental, where I just want to get more queer people involved in understanding our history. Like, it's really not documented or preserved. So the goal right now is just to have conversation and relationships with each other. I think if folks decide that they want parts of our history to be put onto like a national register, then we can go for it. But yeah, right now my focus is like just getting us together.
Anyone have any questions for Ashley? Equity engagement? Is attendance going well for that one? There's a couple of members in the city council bluffs that go to that one. Is it pretty?
I think so, yeah. I think that us combining the committee has been helpful. I mean, already the equity engagement committee was focusing a lot on housing with our scorecard, so it's a natural fit. I guess the other update too is we are planning for like all committee social for recruitment and for people to learn more about all the committees. So that will be in December. Don't remember if we set the date yet, but that will be at the end of the year. So it's more casual to come and learn about what all of us are doing. There might be some opportunities again in the future for equity and engagement or housing and development to, combine with some of the other committees as well to talk about what makes sense.
All right. Housing and development, Jeff.
Yeah, much of this, the same as what Ashley just shared, so I won't repeat any of that. But we just want the last meeting we had, Restoring Dignity, provided a summary of their refugee housing study. Just wanted to highlight a couple of those takeaways that be beneficial. So one is that one thing they uncovered in that study is that there's many Muslim families that, due to the nature of the way home mortgages are structured with interest, they're not able to take out a mortgage that has that interest. So as a significant barrier for accessing housing. And a model from Minneapolis as a financial institution called Halal Financing is something that they sort of restructure the loan so that it's made up in a way where it's built in through fees instead of interest, as a way of providing more opening access to homeownership opportunities. So something that could be brought to a financial institution in our metro area. And then one other thing, just because it relates to so many other committees, is the access to public transportation was probably the most significant barrier that was brought up in all of their listening. And so just more coordination with Metro Transit and MAPA on the long-term planning of frequency and kind of and route planning in the future. That there's quite a bit. They said a lot of inside 68102 north-south, kind of east of 42nd, but where families are wanting, some families are maybe wanting to live or access employment opportunities further west, they're having to wait 1 or 2 hours, which is, you know, something we kind of all sort of understand, but just that was a big takeaway for that study. And so that Saul has that study sent out to our committee, but if anybody else wants it, I think you could send that out to the RPAC committee.
Anybody have any questions for Jeff? All right, thank you, Jeff. Appreciate it. All right, next is going to be infrastructure. Mike.
Yeah, so our last couple of meetings have been focused a little bit on just education. Last month, we had Steve Jensen come in and he gave an update on the streetcar project, which was well received. I wasn't able to attend that one, but I heard it was well received. We just had another meeting on Wednesday, and Nancy Friedel from Lamprey Nearson, she gave an overview of the 6 bond issues that are on the November ballot for City of Omaha. Really important infrastructure bond issues needed to maintain a vibrant city. I do have handouts she gave me, so I can leave those there. That has more information, but there are 6 of them, and really important to just kind of promote what they are about and the education of what those are for. And then Robert LaRocco gave an update on the City of Omaha's Climate Action Plan, which is plans kind of wrapping up and completion and moving into a implementation phase. So it was good to hear what was going on there and some of the action items moving forward for that. We have some working groups. A couple of them have pretty good momentum. We have one that's kind of studying TIF and responsible TIF, holistic TIF. We actually have some coordination with UNO and a student from UNO who's doing some research on that. And so the idea is to come up with kind of a fact sheet that MAPA can use for education and outreach. And then another committee or working group is on responsible infrastructure, looking for new ways to fund or unique ways to fund infrastructure. Make sure we're doing it in a responsible manner. They've got some people willing to do some pro bono research, which is great. Some attorneys that want to get involved on the real estate side of things. So they're working to pull that together and are looking to present their findings at a 2025 Regional Transportation Conference. So a couple of good deliverable items and action items from those committees. So we have seen, I would say the last few times, a drop in attendance. So we would like to see that maybe start ramping back up, and we'll be part of the December social. But if anybody's interested, please spread the word. It's really good committee. We've had lots of good presentations. So I just encourage spreading the word to attend that one. Have I missed anything, Saul?
No,
okay.
Good, thank you.
Yeah. Laura?
Yeah.
You brought up the streetcar presentation. We did our APA workshop last week, and Steve Jensen and Brandon Garrett from Council Bluffs both gave great presentations on that. It was very educational. I think it opened a lot of people's eyes. I would encourage maybe seeing if they come speak to this group at some point.
Oh, that'd be great.
I think there's still a lot of things that misinformation out there. The mayoral race coming up, there's still people out there campaigning, I think, some want to kill the project if we've already spent so much time and money on it. It'd be a real shame to do something like that. The more people can learn about it and get the information out to the community, the better.
And yeah, Council Bluffs is looking right now at kind of multimodal transportation along First Avenue. So MAP is working on that project as well. In fact, you should talk about that. Me.
Right now, we're in the process of doing a health study, just the different modes of transportation could be possible, we're not just fixated on the streetcar, but evaluating, ERT, not doing anything at all, streetcar, light rail, so all that right now is just being evaluated, different routes that potentially could take place. That is being headed up, through our mayor's office. Brandon obviously is kind of spearheading that one for the city with MAPA, but we're excited, obviously I think a couple of, maybe last year I kept saying opportunity. I mean, that's what it is for us. It's an opportunity for the region and really can be a huge catalyst for Omaha, Council Bluffs. But I envision it could completely transform the entire West End of Council Bluffs. I mean, all the way from, I could see from Avenue G all the way down to Fifth Avenue, if that streetcar comes through, which is, that would impact more than 50% of the location where our population is at in the city. So tremendous resource and just looking forward to seeing how to play out. The big question obviously is, how do you pay for something like this? But, that'll be figured out when the time is there to figure it out. But appreciate all of MAPA's support. I know Mike's been pretty, he's been part of that too with Brandon trying to get that study together. So we can invite him to come here. I think Brandon would be more than willing to present on it. I just think right now we're just going through the motions, getting the study done. We'll figure out potential route, what mode of transportation, and then we'll have more to share with the group at that time. But we do have a website. It's called First Ave, and Council Bluffs is government website under the mayor's office. First Ave is more than just a streetcar. We envision that really being an area of multimodal transportation, mixture of housing, mixed income housing. Not just all market rate, not just all low to moderate income, but truly a kind of culmination of variety of housing typologies, mixed income, changes in building typologies, heights. It's really going to be that transformative corridor for the city Council Bluffs in the long range. And we work every single day at it. And that's what we do a lot of part in our day-to-day operations. So we're excited about it. It's, you talk about, this city venture plan that you're working on right now, dating back to 2009. We've been looking at First Avenue for 20 years now. We finally have an apartment project coming out of the ground. It takes time. I think that's what I want to tell the public, these plans just aren't sitting on shelves, they take time. And we as the government can only do so much. You have to have a private sector who's willing to partner with you on this. And we don't have that. We have that momentum. So I'm excited. I can't wait. And I've said it before, just being part of this Omaha region right now, there's so much happening here. It really feels like we're on the cusp of great things here. And I hope everyone in this room believes that, because I honestly do. I've been living in different places and seeing what we're going through. Omaha's up and coming. Folks, we're in the right direction. I hope you all believe that.
Their presentation was great, and I didn't know much about the Council Bluffs side. But it'll tie basically UNMC all the way out to Jenny Edmondson Hospital. And like I said, that will be a catalyst for the other development ways. I think what was beneficial was also, you hear everybody saying, oh, the taxpayers are paying for it. Well, it's not. And I think that word's got to get out there more on the benefits of it, and it's not being funded with taxpayer dollars.
I attended last Friday too, and it was really good. And I'm already proud to be from this area, but seeing what's going on makes me even more proud to be from here. So really exciting stuff.
Yeah, and just to add, the Council Bluffs website is, I believe we call the project the Linkages Project.
Yes.
So if you have a chance, you want to look at some good public engagement going on, we just held an open house on Wednesday with our consultant team, opened it up. There's a virtual option for you to join in, answer some questions. Look, it's a regional project. It's going to connect 2 separate cities, 2 different states. So we're just super excited about it. This makes my planning joys come out all the time, because it's one of the big projects that we get to work on, and it's very fun. But definitely go check it out. Get more people, more involvement, more people knowing. It's always great. Thank you.
It does seem like we've talked, I was kind of involved in the Nodes and Corridors group a while ago with Heartland 2050, and that like, it feels like it's getting realized where there's these walkable developments that are all interconnected. It's just really exciting, especially when you come back to Omaha and like you're driving through and you kind of have those fresh eyes, like you've been somewhere else and you kind of come back and see it. It's just really exciting. You can drive through town and it's like, oh, look at all these centers of entertainment and business we've got kind of all. It's really exciting.
So I think we're First Avenue Trail really kind of cemented it, like you can really visualize like what's happening. So if you haven't been on the trail on First Avenue Council Bluffs, I mean, please do. It's fantastic. It's
Chris will take you on a personal guided tour.
It is part of the Great American Rail Trail, which we'll talk about a little bit coming up as well. So sorry to derail our infrastructure report out.
Any questions for Mike? Thank you, Mike, appreciate it. Natural resources. Yes, Ken, sorry.
So natural resources over the past number of months has been taking a new fresh look at the action plan, which is in place, and then trying to determine how we better support the climate action planning that's going on, both Omaha regional. So that's still ongoing. I would anticipate that maybe within a month, we'll have recommendations to push out to the entire committee. I will push them out to everybody so they can look at those. In terms of kind of, Mike mentioned some subgroups in his committee. We have a couple of different subgroups. Probably the most active one is the solid waste one, which I chair. We've had a couple of really good engaging meetings back in July 10th. We had a number of folks from around the country basically talking about the battery issue and fires within kind of the whole solid waste system. And I want to say we had probably 50 people on that Zoom meeting. Really positive response. And for those of you that don't know what I'm talking about, the battery issue is really kind of related to mainly lithium ion batteries, which are in a host of different products. A lot of them are embedded products, which means simply the consumer, or whoever the user is not supposed to be taking the battery out or replacing it. And lots of issues with that. But the real thing is the safety issue with people throwing stuff away, putting it in recycle bins. It gets into the system. You get trash trucks that literally are exploding. Stuff that explodes in there creates a thermal runaway, and big things where you got a trash truck dumping their load out in the middle of the street. At the recycling facilities, you get a fire in there. Across the country, there have been several that have been completely destroyed by these, and their batteries. So trying to get a handle on that. So that's been a big push there. I think you'll see potentially some legislation introduced in this next session that will get towards potentially an extended producer responsibility law to put the responsibility back on the manufacturers for taking care of the problem. The other big issue coming up is really related to the climate action plans, and that is next Wednesday, the 9th, we also have a solid waste working group meeting that's going to be focused on organics. So this is yard waste, food waste, especially. We have a national person from the U.S. Composting Council that's going to be presenting a national view. And then I have, I think, 5 or 6 other people who are going to put different views of food waste, yard waste, hillside solutions, PREPA sanitation. Those folks that have their compost club, they're actually picking up residential food waste and that kind of a thing. We've got Lisa Smith from Omaha Planning is going to present some. Robert wasn't available, but she's going to present some updates and how this is linking into the climate action plan, organics goals. So yeah, some interesting stuff going on there. I'm probably also going to push out to this group a battery survey that could be, we're just looking for really more of an awareness. How much are people aware of the situation? Because we want to be able to get good information to the senators that are potentially going to introduce this. And there are folks right now having conversations to try to build that coalition of folks. So we at least get kind of people to neutral. So Bruce's point, the misinformation on stuff like this kills you. And it's unfortunate, but this is another of the things where people don't understand what the battery issue is. And we're a convenient society. You have to make it convenient to be able to solve a problem. And this is no different. So that's kind of some interesting stuff going on there. It's just a great day to be talking trash.
Any land use conversation, so the biggest link between land use, this composting and food waste is that more than half of the waste generated is something that can be avoided, right? So thinking in the land use terms, how do we avoid making giant landfills? We're running out of space, folks. And so this is an opportunity for us to take a step forward and reduce the amount of garbage that's being produced and space needed to house that garbage. So interesting conversations at the regional level. We're trying to tie into the City of Omaha's Climate Action Resiliency Plan with our CPRG. And one of the strategies is this reducing the amount of waste being generated throughout the region. So yes, City of Omaha could take a little step, but if we do it for the entire 8-county region, that's a significant impact. So how can we do that? We're going to need a lot of help. So.
To Carlos's point, the state of Nebraska is undertaking a waste characterization study to update the 2009 study, which basically says, what are we throwing away? So they'll update that. That'll be available probably in early 2026. State of Iowa just did that in 2023. So we have some more recent information about that. Why is that important? We need to know quantities. We need to know qualities. The waste stream changes a lot. If you look at like those plastic water bottles back there, 10 years ago, they were 2 or 3 times as heavy, just the plastic material in them. So that does influence kind of what's going on. Food waste is a big component. Paper is a big component. There are a lot of opportunities out there to take those resources out of the waste stream and create economic value with them. And hopefully that value stays here. Right now, we collect a bunch of stuff and we palletize it and we ship it someplace else and we lose the value of that. So how can we take advantage of that? There's economic opportunities that exist right there. And I think you'll see in the legislation, that's the focus. It's not only a safety issue with batteries, but it's also how do we capture the economic value of what we're throwing away. So yeah, exciting things in trash.
I just want to add too, we are working on the regional climate pollution reduction grant, and later this month, we are holding county-wide meetings. So we are looking to get jurisdictions and leadership there to just talk about what that program is. And then eventually we would be asking people to kind of sign on to be part of that plan, which our big goal is unlocking federal funding for you to get the projects done in your community. So just be looking for invitations to that. That'll be later this month. You want to add anything, Carlos?
No, you're on it.
Do you have any questions for Ken? And I can also say every time we do RPAC meeting. I do think about things, so appreciate it. All right, so next on the agenda is MAPA updates.
We've got a lot of things, so we'll just, I kind of threw them in different order. You guys might get sick of hearing me over the next couple of minutes, but I'll try to go back. Next week is our annual meeting. It's our council officials annual meeting. It's a great opportunity to just come and network with other people who are doing this kind of work regionally. It's a lot of fun. This is an evening event. registration is still open through today. So, but you know, if you show up, we're not gonna kick you out either. So feel free to show up. But our speaker this year is Kevin Bell. He is managing the Great American Rail Trail. He manages that project for the Rails to Trails Conservancy. And we'll be doing our keynote speaking that night. Anybody, there's the the QR code if you want to register. We hope to see you guys there. I just wanted to also say this, we are earlier that same day, we're trying to make as much use of Kevin while he is here in town. So we're doing a little workshop in Neola, Iowa, where there's a couple gaps in the Great American Rail Trail. So we're just going to be doing some workshop with the communities around there, talking about what do these gaps look like? How do we move these forward for you? And how do they connect to the broader trail system? So anything else? Okay.
No, I mean, that's really focused on helping out Potawatomi, Neola, Great American Trail Connections, and developing a bigger regional vision for trail networks on the Iowa rural side. That should be a fun event.
Yeah. I mean, we like this stuff. We think it's all fun. So we also wanted to share with you, Nebraska Department of Economic Development is doing some housing listening sessions. So I put the link in Omaha. I think there's some other ones in Kearney. If you guys want to go do that, you can go find the website there and find what those dates are. But October 23rd in the afternoon at the Benson Library, they'll be holding this. Yeah, they are asking for registration if you are interested in that, but they're really trying to understand what's going on with housing and affordable housing. Mike, I don't know if you had anything to add on that, if you're still here.
I think Mike had to hop
off. Okay. But we just really encourage as much participation as possible. We also have an upcoming training that we are doing through Federal Highway Administration. So not everybody's probably super involved with this, but the MUTCD has an update. All states must adopt this by January 2026. So this is just a free training that we are offering, trying to help people get ahead of that and get training for their staff who might be working with this. So this is about signage and roadway signs.
Yeah, it's signing and striping. It's kind of the rules on the roadway for engineers and public works officials. We've invited a good, healthy bunch throughout our region. Look, folks, we're bringing in technical assistance from the federal highway to help us navigate some of the changes that have taken place, some of the changes that you should watch out for. A lot of attention being put towards safety and some of the changes that are taking effect towards safety. If you know the MUTCD, you'll love it. It'll be like a fun-filled day of MUTCD work. Our shalls and shoulds and musts will be accounted for. So if you know people, let us know. Contact Jim or
anybody. Yeah. Space is limited on that, so we're just trying to make sure we get, you know, the people who really need to be there. But we would love to welcome you to that if we have enough time. Our regional Safe Streets for All project, there's a little map there. It's Douglas, Sarpy, and Urban Pot. And we've got a community input survey up now. You can go again.
Yes, so we're working on our Safe Streets for All. We're wrapping up some data and data analysis work that will be coming out in the next couple of weeks. This is just getting additional information, ground truthing, some information from the public. Hey, do you know a street? Potawatomi and Council Bluffs, we need you. We have not had a lot of participation in our survey from Council Bluffs. So, you know, get that message out there, tell them to join in. This survey is real quick, three questions. Where do you feel unsafe in your community? Lets you drop a pin or a line. What feels unsafe about it? We use that to ground truth some of the information that we get from our crash data, right? So we're using this in order to assess what the risk or potential risk of safety is for our public. Help. That's all we can do.
I was gonna, is RPA Safe Streets kicking off? Is that still?
That's still under.
A little bit down the road. So there will be a second one for our RPA 18 area, so that's
That'll be in there.
Hey, it's on the next slide actually, so we'll show you what that looks like. So in addition to that, we're doing some more surveys for our long-range transportation plans. So we Carlos brought this up a little bit earlier. This is a big public engagement effort that we're gonna be doing through next year, getting our long-range transportation plan. Again, these are two areas, so the transportation management areas in the blue, Douglas, Sarpy, Urban, Potawatomi. And then our regional planning affiliation 18 in Iowa covers those yellow counties. So both of those are ongoing at the same time. We've got surveys for both of them and QR codes for both of them.
So this is just a long-range plan looking out. What do you want your future to be in terms of transportation in the next 25 years? Our horizons are 25 years out. Please tell the public, let them join in. You know, I've been talking a lot about we're pushing things out and we're getting stuff done. Help.
But the major point of this is bringing federal funding to the area for the projects that you want to do and you want to see in your community. So just let us help you accomplish that, I guess.
Deadline for that survey.
I think they're both open pretty long term. Yeah. Yeah, so we're keeping them open kind of throughout the engagement process for both of those plans.
So do you have something where you can send it out and we can then put it on some of our things?
Yeah, absolutely.
You can send something to me though.
Perfect.
Yeah, Lord, we said something. Actually are. So you can push out the city's website, Facebook, get you more participation.
So you guys are the best. Let's see, and then I don't know if Grant is still on, if you want to cover this one.
I am still on. So EPA has announced that there is a grant cycle open for brownfields, and I think virtually everyone in this group knows what a brownfield is, but if there's anyone that really doesn't understand, it's basically a site that has known or suspected environmental contamination. So in your older parts of cities where there was more industry, those kind of sites are common. And then in smaller towns, it's kind of like your gas stations, service stations, places or businesses that probably dealt with petroleum products in some way. But anyway, we've been talking to a few communities about leading an EPA Brownfields Coalition assessment grant. Cities themselves cannot be the lead on these kinds of applications. They need to be led by multi-jurisdictional entities. So a county government, for instance, could apply, but also a planning agency like MAPA is also eligible. Each participating community that might want to take part would need to identify their general target area and then from there some priority sites. And we don't have a yet totally defined idea of which communities will be part of this coalition, but we're thinking at the very least Omaha in some form, so that could be the South Omaha redevelopment area, Carter Lake and areas in North Omaha that are adjacent, so probably the Inland Port Authority area or just other redevelopment areas in North Omaha. And this assessment grant is really just providing funding to do just that, assess areas in these target areas that have known or suspected brownfields contamination. But this grant, if funded, if implemented, would be one of the first steps in establishing potentially a regional remediation revolving loan fund. And basically what that means is we could apply for a pool of money that we could revolve over time to help clean up various sites that were identified in the assessment. Last thing I'll say is many cities and regional councils like MAPA have been successful in obtaining assessment and remediation funds over the years. And here locally, I know that Council Bluffs has been pretty opportunistic. So anyway, we'll provide more information as it comes, but if you have any questions or you would like to know more or potentially talk about joining this coalition, please feel free to contact me. I'll say that the application is due November 14th, so oftentimes with these kind of opportunities, the turnaround time is short and we have quite a bit to do. But this is a priority application for us, so please just feel free to shoot me an email or give me a call.
Perfect. Thank you, Grant. I also wanted to just let you know that we are updating our civil rights policy. That happens every 3 years. So that includes our Title VI policy as well as the complaint process for Title VI and ADA. So I just wanted to let you know that there will be a comment period for this draft policy probably coming up in November. We'll just share that with you if you are interested in providing comments. This works kind of in tandem with our public participation plan for the agency, but it is a federal requirement. So I've just thrown that up there, but I just wanted to let you know you might be hearing that from us and given an opportunity to comment. So many updates. So also we are busy. So applications will be opening soon for federal transportation funding, our general call for projects. That'll be both for the TMA as well as RPA 18 areas. I believe that are they both opening this month?
Yeah, they're opening at the end of this month. For the RPA and the TMA, we're looking at doing, let me refresh. For the RPA, we're just doing TASA or Transportation Alternatives funding. We're tapped out on SVG. For the Council Bluffs Urbanized Area Potawatomi, we are opening a special call for all three, the Surface Transportation Block Grant, Transportation Alternatives, and Carbon Pollution Reduction Grants. On the Nebraska side, we're just opening up Transportation Alternatives and Carbon Pollution Program funding this year.
And the carbon is new, correct? That's a new program for us.
So there's money available. This funds trails, EV infrastructure, fleet conversions from regular gasoline to now electric vehicles. If you want more information, contact me or anyone on my staff and they'll be more than happy to help.
So just put a great plug in for the transportation team because, and both of our community development team as well. We love to give you money and we love it when you come talk to us about what you need so we can help position that best for you to get that and we can support how you're moving forward. So they're great resources we have on our staff to help you get funded and get your projects moving. We also have a few open RFPs and RFQs right now, which is kind of not standard. So I just wanted to roll through those really quick. We did get funding from Front Porch Investments from their Development and Preservation Fund of $150,000 to do a housing market value analysis. So that RFP is open right now on our website. And we've had some additional, so I think there's some questions.
Laura, the deadline for that is today.
Oh, well, hurry up, guys. Hey, I'm trying. We also have an on-call travel demand model RFQ. That's for our traffic modeling and traffic forecasting. And then Grant, maybe if you want to talk about City of Minden, if you know anything about that one.
Yes, I do. So Minden, as you may know, was very much affected by the tornadoes and severe weather back in April earlier this year. Almost half of their housing stock was virtually affected in some form. So oftentimes when these kinds of disasters befall communities, there are different state and federal funds that become available. And one of those is commonly community development block grant funds, which are administered by the Iowa Economic Development Authority. So we are proposing in an application that's yet to be submitted to build probably 7 or so single family, well, not single family exclusively, but new housing units in the community. And basically we can use community development block grant assistance in the case of this disaster to develop those funds. So the RFP is essentially to solicit a qualified builder that could come in and build those units on behalf of the city.
Thank you, Grant. So you can look at those, and there's, but we also have a mailing list, so if you're, interested in, finding out or just hearing, when we've got those open, you can sign up there. Mark, do you have a question?
On the housing market value, what's the geographic area that that's covering?
You're gonna have to check out that link.
Okay.
Check out that application packet. Does anybody know?
It's MAPA's 6-county service area. So Douglas, Washington, Sarpy, Cass counties, Mills and Potawatomi in Iowa.
Okay. And then what was the intent, or what do you anticipate the results of that analysis to be used for?
Essentially, it'll just be kind of a guiding document to facilitate conversations regionally on barriers to housing at various price points or styles. So there will be an initial analysis that the selected firm will complete within, say, the first 12 months. And then 3 years later, that we'll re-engage that firm to do a secondary analysis to see what changes in the market have occurred. But really, it's informational largely, but it's also meant to kind of facilitate and be a map or a guide on strategies to facilitate housing development or to remove barriers that are affecting housing at different price points or types.
Looking at the gap,
Okay.
right? So like to put it very bluntly, it's the gap between what we currently have versus the potential. So looking at that gap between the potential housing that could fit versus what we actually have and the market conditions that either push more housing or detract housing, right? So it's doing a very in-depth analysis and looking into those different factors, whether it's political, economic, infrastructure, and looking at that. So
is there a date that the study is to be completed by?
I think most of these are 1 to 2 year. I believe this one itself was looking at a 1 year horizon. So like, we're gonna have to go through all our normal contracting stuff. So I can see early in 2025, really kicking it off, and probably a lot of people will be rang up by us at MAPA asking for additional help and additional information about what.
Carlos, according to the RFP, the contract end date would be June 30 of 25. So shorter time than I even remembered.
Thank you.
What do you got in mind, Mark? Wheels are turning. No.
Come talk to us.
Yeah.
I'm glad I added that. I just wanted to plug our newsletter. It's a great way to just stay in touch. It's an email newsletter. It comes out about every other month. Just a good way to keep in touch. So you can sign up there, bug us, and we can get you signed up for that if you're interested. And now it's time for just community updates. So we can, if anybody wants to kind of share what's going on with them. Actually, I have one more quick thing. It was so new and fresh. It didn't make the slide deck, but our calendars are in. This is a small version. If anybody wants a few of these. I only brought one today, but those will be coming out. I wanted to at least bring you a visual aid because we'll be bugging you and delivering those. You guys will get nice visits from us over the next month or so. We are doing the large ones. I just brought a small one for display purposes. But we did do a few small ones this year. We did them just internally last year and staff really liked them. So we thought we'd print a few, but I know everybody's getting ready for 2025.
My heart skipped a beat when I saw the little one because I depend upon the big.
Trust me, you covered. I did not want to lug it this morning. It was all, so. We'll lug some over to Council Bluffs for you, ASAP.
I can get us started on community updates. So just have 3 council bluffs. That City Council Bluffs and Mills County, we did finalize our 28th agreement, which now allows us to kind of work cooperatively for annexations and subdivisions to really kind of foster growth and development between both communities. So really excited about that. I think there's gonna be some big things to come here in the near future as a result of that agreement. the Iowa Economic Development Authority, they did select Council Bluffs as one of the thriving community winners. So we were awarded underneath workforce housing, so that will allow developers who are applying for tax credit projects to get some additional points on their applications from that designation. So we're hopeful that some of the projects that have just barely missed the cutoff to get funded will now be able to kind of get over that hurdle and get some tax credits. And then third is we have started working on our East Manawa subdivision. So it's gonna be a joint public-private partnership, but the city is kind of serving as the master developer. So that's 94 acres of property that we bought on the east side of Lake Manawa using some of our ARPA funds, and we were able to secure some CDBG debt disaster recovery funds to help put in the infrastructure for the first phase. As a result of that, we do have to commit to providing a certain number of units for low to moderate income families, and the first phase will be 40 townhomes that's going to get put in. So that's going to be the first phase of many to come. And the master plan that we've put together, we think we can get about 1,000 units on that 94 acres. So big things to come out of Council Bluffs. And I think once that one gets up and rolling, we'll come back and maybe give you guys a presentation on that development. So just 3 things I want to share with you guys. Also, any updates for the group?
I mean, for the good of the group, just wanted to make a couple of announcements. Since I was away at a conference last week, I was listening a lot to pathways to removing obstacles to housing from HUD. Their pro-housing applications due October 15th. The purpose of that grant is to make $100 million available to cut red tape, build more homes, lower cost of renting, and buying a home. So if you're interested as a municipality, definitely go out for those grant funding opportunities. The other one is the Energy Efficiency and Conservation Block Grant coming up at the end of October. That one is through Department of Energy. So we're trying to tap more than our traditional transportation funds. Just letting you all know, this is available. It's a community block grant from Department of Energy. If you guys have more questions, come talk to me after.
I said, just a couple professional updates, I guess, on organizations. Next Friday, October 10th, the Nebraska Planning and Zoning Association is hosting their online workshop. You can get information on the website if you search EZA, Nebraska Planning and Zoning Association. A lot of good online things for, especially for people working in the cities or their planning commissions and board of adjustments. Some good sessions on that. And then La Vista won the competition, but the ability to host the Nebraska Economic Developers Association conference next spring. It's May 28th through the 30th. Cooperation with Pro Sarpy, Omaha Partnership, and our Sarpy Tourism. Ourselves are hoping to be the host committee for that. I appreciate MAPA agreeing to be a sponsor for that too. So we'll bring in, I don't know, Mark, what about 100 people probably throughout the state?
Well, closer to 2 probably since it's here. State.
And just to say the Nebraska APA event last week was really great. I'm just gonna put that out again, just because I know you guys did so much work for that, but it was a really great event overall.
I give Cale all the credit for that. He worked his butt off on it. Did a great job.
Speaking of conferences, I am the co-chair for IAP2's Midwest Conference that's coming back to Omaha next year. We are looking for sponsors, but also folks, we will be opening calls for session proposals here soon.
What month is that? Sorry, did you say?
It's, gosh, I should know.
Oh, it's okay. Never mind.
It's in April.
Okay, thanks. Yeah.
I just want to say, I do like how we've rotated communities these last couple of meetings. That's the first time I've been part of this group doing that. It's very informative. And members, I really appreciate you and Cale kind of taking the time to go over some of your major planning initiatives. So if we can keep this up, I think we have some good momentum here. Next time this comes back to Council Plus, we'll start focusing more on our projects too. So I like this setup. I don't know what the rest of you guys think about it, but this is, it's good. I like it.
Plus, they made it you guys have both made it very easy for us, so we were kind of set up too early. We were like, dang, this is too easy, so thank you. To both of you guys for hosting. We also do have one spot for public comment if there's, that is new on our agenda for all of our public meetings, so.
Laura, just a comment that when the meetings are at MAPA, I always have to dress a little more. I do appreciate the HVAC. And I know
That's Ralph.
that's not you, but yeah, that's always.
We also bring sweaters, so.
Freezing.
You're lucky our conference have been big enough to host it.
I did notice that the heater is strategically placed, so I wondered if it's chilly at certain times of year, maybe just not today.
One in our office is cold year round.
No public comment, just again, I'll just a plug for our annual meeting, next Wednesday, it should be a lot of fun. And then our next meeting is December 6th, and hopefully we'll have some things in store for you. That meeting. But thanks everybody for your time today.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming.